In a pretty thin free agent class this offseason, who are the 10 best free agents in MLB, and what can they bring to their new teams? First, let's get to some guys that are just outside the top 10, because I can already hear all the, how can you leave this guy off your list? Never make one of these again. Bruh. Clayton Kershaw is still putting up great numbers, but he's gonna miss a good chunk of the season after having shoulder surgery. And he's never really actually been a free agent. We all know he's just gonna sign these one-year deals with the Dodgers until he retires. Jeimer Candelario, for the most part, has been a pretty solid player. He's just been a little inconsistent over his career, and there really isn't anything that just jumps out at you about him. Jorge Soler and Matt Chapman are both these three true outcome type of hitters. They'll take their walks, they're gonna hit the ball hard and take you deep, but that comes with a lot of strikeouts, a lower average, and just inconsistent production at the plate. And even as more of an analytics guy myself, I'm just over it with these types of hitters right now. And finally, Seth Lugo might be that under the radar signing this year that pays off big, putting up good numbers as a reliever, spot starter kind of guy throughout his career, and then keeping up that production full time in the rotation this year. He doesn't have as many miles on his arm as some of these other guys that have been starters throughout their career, but he also doesn't have that same proven track record as a starter either, so you might be able to get him a little bit cheaper here, and that could really pay off, but I like him. I would just prefer some of the guys that have shown me they can be starters for multiple years. Now, starting our list at number 10, I'm going with left fielder Lourdes Gurriel Jr. Now I can already feel the comment section getting spicy. Now look, this could just be me overreacting to having to watch the Mariners offense so much this year, but the drop in batting average with these three true outcome guys is a bigger problem than most analytics guys want to admit. So that's why I have him above guys like Soler and Chapman, because I'm gonna take the guy that's gonna put the ball in play, he's gonna make something happen, and he's gonna help the offense consistently throughout the course of the season do his part in multiple games to help you win, over the guys that are only gonna produce in bunches when they get a hold of one. Because yeah, that helps a lot when it happens, but that only helps you to win one game. Winning by 8 and winning by 1, both of them still just get you one win. Gurriel's a higher average guy, and he's gonna hit for some pop as well. Overall, just a productive hitter that can help out your lineup by, like I said, just putting the ball in play and making something happen. He's got that contact ability to get the bat to the ball consistently, and that's gonna help him keep the strikeouts down. But he's not gonna walk a whole lot either, because he's about as aggressive as a frat boy after his third Jaeger bomb. Nothing crazy yet, but he's definitely ready to swing. If you put him in your lineup in a spot where you expect guys to get on base ahead of him, he's gonna get them moving and he's gonna help you score runs. He was good defensively this year, but that's not really what he's known for, so I wouldn't expect much from him in the field other than his arm, but in left field, you don't really need much from him anyways. Next up, I'm going with Aaron Nola at number 9, and I gotta be honest, I don't feel great about this one. I think a lot of people will expect him to be higher than this, and over his career, he's been pretty damn good. He finished 2018 with a 2.37 ERA in over 210 innings and finished 3rd in the Cy Young voting. He doesn't really have injury concerns, and honestly, by the advanced numbers, he's still pitching pretty good. So then why is he so low on here? Well, over the last 3 years, 2022 was the only season that not only he's been good, but just above average in terms of ERA plus. He just hasn't been able to consistently keep runs off the board. And I really don't know why. Other than giving up some more homers these last couple years, he's still pitching really well. He still has high strikeout stuff and keeps guys off the base paths. He just has to be giving up these homers at the worst possible moments. That's the only thing that I can think of. Phillies fans, let me know if I'm right or wrong about this. So with Nola, you could still be getting a really good pitcher if he plays back up to his ceiling. But this inconsistency and his floor that he showed in the last couple years of being below average, that makes me a little hesitant to give him big money and bank on the fact that he can be that guy again. Coming in at number 8 is closer Josh Hader. And I had a tough time ranking this guy too for a couple reasons. One is that no matter how dominant they are, and at his best, Hader is absolutely dominant. But a reliever is still the least valuable position on any team. So even at his best, I can't really justify putting Hader too far above guys that are gonna give you more consistent value. But second, there is a bit of a concern that I have about how long Hader can stay at this peak dominance. Since the first moment that he stepped on a big league mound, Hader has shut down offenses. A 5-time All-Star that's put up ERA pluses over 300 in 2 separate seasons. And that's because facing this dude is an absolute nightmare. Hader has basically been unhittable, with the best strikeout percentage and average allowed in MLB for relievers with over 350 innings since he debuted. But this kind of unhittable stuff, it comes at a cost. And Hader can't aim for shit.
Wild thing! You make my heart sing!
His lack of control leads to a ton of walks, but he gets away with it because those guys just end up standing out there thanking God that they didn't have to try to hit him. But we saw just last year how this can absolutely kill him when he's not completely unhittable. As soon as guys can get to him just a little bit more, that age-old saying that walks will come back to haunt you, it becomes very true. Hader's ceiling is an absolute shutdown closer that's borderline unhittable. But as soon as he loses that, he's gonna crash, and he's gonna crash hard. And it will not be pretty. So that's the risk that you're gonna run if you decide to sign him big for multiple years. Number 7 is another potential boom or bust type player, and that's the NL Comeback Player of the Year this year, center fielder, first baseman Cody Bellinger. Bellinger won the 2019 MVP in only his 3rd season as a patient power hitter with the tendency to whiff a bit, but multiple injuries starting in the 2020 postseason had his numbers take a nosedive in 2021 and 2022. On basically a 1-year prove-it deal with the Cubs this year, Bellinger was able to bounce back now that he's finally healthy and rebuild himself, putting up the highest batting average of his career. Now, there's obviously the concern that he could deal with injuries again as he continues to get older, and we saw how much his health played into his down years here, but he also completely flipped his approach at the plate, and that got me to raise my eyebrows a bit. Bellinger wasn't able to bounce back because he was back to being that patient hitter that we've seen before. He was actually pretty aggressive this year chasing out of the zone, and this cost him in taking that free base and being able to square the ball up consistently. Chasing out of the zone like this will catch up to hitters once they can't make contact as often. But if Bellinger can combine his patience from early in his career and pick his spots to do damage, which he showed he can still do this year, with that ability to put the ball in play when he needs to, we might be looking at MVP level Bellinger again. The risk here is that if he keeps chasing like this but then starts whiffing way more, you're going to be paying a lot of money for somebody that you're not going to get very much out of at the plate. He'll at least still give you good solid defense out in center field though. Next up at number 6 is starting pitcher Marcus Stroman, who might not have the upside of Nola, Hader, or Bellinger, but when we're talking about top free agents and spending big money, you want to feel confident that what you're paying for is what you're gonna get. And since 2017, Stroman's put up a FIP under 4 every single year, and an ERA under 4 every year except for 2018, when he missed time because of shoulder fatigue and blisters. You know what you're gonna get with Stroman. He's gonna keep the ball in the ballpark by getting a ton of ground balls, and he'll attack the zone and force hitters to beat him if they want to get on base. Now, he's not like a true ace or anything, but he can slot in as the number 2 or 3 guy in a rotation behind your ace, and think about how valuable it was for the Rangers this last year to put Nathan Eovaldi behind Jacob deGrom. Now, the only real concern with Stroman here is that he's missed a little bit of time each of the last 2 seasons, but he had a down year this year while dealing with those injuries and put up a 3.95 ERA. I wouldn't be too upset about that. He's probably not going to cost you as much as some of the other pitchers on the market, and it's a good bet that you're going to get more of your money's worth out of him than some of these other guys that are a bit more inconsistent. And this is going to start our run of starting pitchers, with Sonny Gray as our number 5 free agent this year. I feel like Gray has quietly put up like a borderline great career. Since making his debut in 2013, he's really only had 2 below average years in 2016 and 2018. But he has struggled with injuries during parts of his career. Just like Stroman, Gray isn't really like a dominant kind of ace like a deGrom or Garrett Cole, but he's more of like a 1B than a number 2. He's always been more of a ground ball pitcher, which has helped him keep the homers down, but he upped his game in 2019 when he started throwing his curve more and changed his slider to more of a sweeper, and doing this has made it a lot tougher to hit him. Now obviously he's coming off of a season where he was one of the best pitchers in the AL and a Cy Young finalist, but at 34 years old, he's a bit older than the rest of the guys on this list, and there is still that little bit of a concern with the injury history. So while his peak may be higher than Stroman and even our next guy, between his age and the injuries, you're probably not going to get as much time out of him, especially at this high of a level. So let's go ahead and talk about our number 4 on the list, and that's starting pitcher and World Series champ Jordan Montgomery. He had a good first season in 2017, but then he missed most of 2018 and 2019 because of Tommy John. And then he had a rough 2020 coming back from that injury, and just like, I think we can all kind of agree that like 2020 just doesn't really count.
Doesn't count.
But since 2021, not only has he been a good pitcher, not only has he been durable, but he's been getting better every year, with his ERA, ERA plus, and FIP all improving every single season. Montgomery's the kind of pitcher that he's not really gonna beat you, he doesn't throw hard, and he's not really flashy, but he's not gonna beat himself. His two biggest skills are his command of the strike zone and keeping the walks down while not making mistakes and giving hitters something that they can get a hold of and hit hard. It's not anything crazy, but he's the kind of pitcher that's just gonna go out and get the job done for you. But
You're boring.
like Stroman, he's more of a number 2, but he's above both him and Gray because he is the youngest, but more importantly, he's been the most durable. You can feel pretty confident that he's gonna go out there every 5th day and do what you're paying him to do. I'm so sorry, Jordan, for just jinxing you. At number 3, we have Yoshinobu Yamamoto, the top starting pitcher coming over from Japan this year. Yamamoto has dominated the MPB since he debuted in 2017 as an 18-year-old, with a fastball in the mid to upper 90s, a cutter, curveball, and a splitter that scouts are calling a legitimate out pitch. The 25-year-old is being evaluated as a potential ace already, with reports saying that he could be looking at an over $200 million contract this offseason, already showing some impressive skills at his age. What Yamamoto did best during his time in Japan was keep hitters from being able to square him up, only allowing 2 homers in over 170 innings this year and an average allowed under 200 throughout his entire NPB career, pairing this with great command. Now, when we're talking about a pitcher coming over from Japan, it's similar to when a guy is getting called up from the minors. We can get an idea of the type of player that they're gonna be, but we're still gonna have to wait and see exactly how well they translate over to the highest level of competition. From the sounds of it, Yamamoto could very well be an ace already, but given that little bit of uncertainty with a player that hasn't even played in the majors yet, I can't justify putting him over a guy that's already shown that he can be an ace level pitcher. And that brings us to number 2 on the list, starting pitcher Blake Snell, who's probably the NL Cy Young winner this year. But Snell's a very interesting case here, because at his best, he's a no doubt ace that can win the Cy Young. He already did it before in 2018. But Snell fluctuates a lot year to year because of the type of pitcher that he is. Snell has unhittable stuff, both in terms of getting whiffs and getting weak contact, but he has absolutely no idea where any of it's going.
I don't know where it's gonna go. I swear to God.
His mindset is he's gonna make a lineup get 4 walks in 1 inning just to score 1 run, rather than give them anything that they can hit. And when that works, it's a nightmare to face. The problem though is when it doesn't, because if you're okay with giving up a couple walks, all it takes is 1 mistake, 1 good hit at the wrong moment, and now you have a big inning on your hands. Plus, trying to pitch around guys like this isn't the most efficient. You're throwing a lot of pitches per inning and not going very far into ball games. With Snell, you're gonna get a season or 2 where he's one of the best pitchers in baseball, but you're also gonna get some where he's just good, and then you're gonna get a down year or 2 as well. He's that shitty person in a relationship that's like, if you can't handle me at my worst, you don't deserve me at my best. And finally, at number 1 on the list, we all know who the top free agent is this year. In 2023, Colton Wong came over to Seattle and put up a negative, yeah, no, it's Ohtani. It's Ohtani. Fans across MLB have been looking forward to this for years now. The best player in the game, a two-way superstar, and from all reports, possibly the first $500 million player ever. With the bat, he may swing and miss a bit, but that happens when you're dropping Listeroid Daddy Hack the 4th level 450-foot piss missile cockshot swamp donkeys because you have absolutely insane power. Coming off of Tommy John, he's only going to be DHing this first year, but that doesn't matter. He's still the kind of hitter that you can build nearly any lineup around. And then, oh yeah, after this year, he's still gonna be able to pitch again too. Ohtani's been a Cy Young level pitcher, with his only real concern being if he can pitch a full season while also hitting full time, but he's got unhittable stuff. He can just let the walks get away from him at times. He's the 2021 AL MVP, the 2022 runner-up, and probably winning again this year. He's the best player on the planet, and we're all just waiting for him to finally sign with the Seattle Mariners to take us to our first World Series. Don't at me. This is always an exciting time of the year, once the signings actually start. Who do you have as your top free agents, and who do you want your team to go out and get? Because the offseason is where you set yourself up for the long grind of the upcoming season, and it was part of how the Texas Rangers built themselves into World Series champions. And you can check out the video that's on your screen now to find out how the Rangers rebuild happened so quick and whether they bought their team or built it. Thank you so much for watching. Have an awesome day. Later.